pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The rules of procedure adopted annually to ensure a productive meeting. The select board meetings are in the public, not of the public, meaning that the members of the public in attendance are entitled to the opportunity to comment, but the purpose of the meeting is for the board to be able to effectively and efficiently conduct the necessary business to govern the town. All questions and comments are to be directed to the chair, and the rules of procedure indicate that there will be 2 minutes allotted for comment from any single person on any single topic. The rules of procedure are posted in the town hall and available for anyone to review.
So, members in attendance tonight, we have Bob Jones, Mike Beecher, and Brian Crossman, and I'm Kristen Powers. Everybody online I see, and then everybody who's in person I've taken down. If you wish to speak this evening, please address our chairman, who's Mike Beecher, and that's our introductions. One addition, just wanting to talk about hiring needs under the highway department's report. And then I don't see, was it Bill Waite who was here last week who was talking about the flags, the veterans flags? Yeah. I put that under old business, but I don't see that Bill is here this evening, so I don't know if anybody else had any updates on that.
I haven't heard anything, so maybe it's just taking a little bit more time.
Yeah, so I think we can delete that for tonight. So the minutes that need approval are from our last meeting, which was May 28th.
I'll make a motion, we approve those minutes.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any announcements?
So just one announcement tonight. There was an email that went out, but the School Street Bridge construction is expected to resume on Wednesday, the 19th of June in that window. So that's the anticipated date, but if it does change, there will be some updates sent out. The anticipated duration of the project is 6 weeks, and just as a reminder, that project, the version of this project that was selected, does result in a full closure for the entirety of the project. And updates will be provided as they become available.
Great, thank you. Zoning Administrator, Nancy?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
So the only thing I have to report on is that the appeal period for the short-term rentals was concluded on May 30th. So we have to wait, I believe it's 4 months now before adoption of the ordinance. And that completes my report.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for zoning? Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a good evening. Is there anything from the Planning Commission? No, not this.
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. Road Foreman's report. You got it?
Yep, so Damon sent a report from the Highway Department. So throughout the last 2 weeks, they've retrieved the town truck that was over at Scott Shaw's that had some repairs done. They've continued to haul gravel and stone material over to the West Pawlet garage. They were continuing grading about 2 weeks ago, which resulted in the need to order new parts and repair the grader. Ultimately, once that was done, they completed grading on Hetherington Road, which also received a spray of calcium, Bettsbridge and Bower Road, and grading has begun on Clerk. Damon went up to inspect the new truck, which is up in Williston, so the delivery of our new truck, town truck, is imminent. They also completed ditch work on Bettsbridge Road, and they mowed Robinson Hill. Upcoming projects, they will be hauling gravel to Sawmill Road, completing the grading on Clark Road, and they've added gravel. They'll be adding gravel to improve parts of Tadmer Road. They'll also be working on roadside mowing and ditch work. So I think that it is important to note that they're completing the grading on Clerk Road, which is the 3-season road, but that I think is good to note as the bridge is closed, so that's, could be.
So they went completely over?
That will be completed in the next 2 weeks. They're gonna be grading Clark. So, it hasn't happened yet. I know they're gonna be completing whatever portion they whatever portions they are able to complete, they will complete.
I was not aware.
I bet it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll do as much as they can.
I'm sure they
Yes.
will.
As much as they can.
Okay,
They'll be
they're gonna
grading.
try and do what they can do to the class 4 section of that road
Yes.
before the bridge goes out. Okay.
No, I don't want to make that statement.
Right.
That was not made. I'm just saying they're going to be completing as much grading as they can complete.
Okay.
So, I don't want to make any.
They were hoping to
I don't
evaluate.
want to make any statements.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to clarify, because they were hoping to evaluate that to see if it would even be possible.
Right.
To tune that road up enough for traffic during the bridge outing, but
I
we
do
may
not
not,
know.
the time frame may be too short.
Yes, I do not know the
Okay.
answer to that question. So the highway department so one of our highway department members has departed from the team. So the highway department will begin searching for another team member to work alongside our existing team member and our foreman. So we just need to figure out, I'm wondering if the board would like for me to repost our job posting and work with the highway liaisons and our foreman to try to put the word out.
Please do.
Seems like the right thing to do. We need to fill the vacancy with a
We can
qualified candidate.
we can see how our application and hiring process works that we started working on.
That we've been tuning
Yes, that we've been
in the
doing.
onboarding.
Yeah, our onboarding process, we'll put that to the test. So,
Perfect.
if anybody knows of any interested possible candidates for the highway department, send them our way. And I think that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions regarding the roads? Okay.
What's the actual job? What does the job entail?
So it's a highway department team member, so it's somebody to work alongside our foreman and our other existing member, and it's to maintain and care for our local roads. So that involves, in the summertime, adding stone and working on the ditches on the roadside and mowing the grass and trimming trees and working with grant programs and adhering to state standards. And then in the wintertime, also, taking care of snow removal and road maintenance. And that's a brief summary.
Is a CDL required?
Yes.
B.
CDL Class B is required. Yep.
I have a question about the road closure from Rupert Mountain.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody lets Rupert know. On the Rupert Community Facebook page, when the road first closed, there were people asking why is the road not open. So I told them why. And so when Deb posted the announcement yesterday, I shared that with them. So, and I look on their page and I don't see anything from Pawlet. I don't know if it's going through some other way, probably, but just to let you know that I'm not sure all the citizens of Rupert are aware when we close the road on this side.
So, if I
Go
may,
ahead, please.
as the updates have been coming through, Jennifer, from Daniel's Construction, who's completing the project, there was a plan made that a party in Rupert was going to be made aware in the Rupert government so they could let their constituents know. So we've been making communications from our end over to Rupert. So thank you for sharing it as well. But we are communicating with them.
I figured we were on top of it, but I just figured I'd share that much.
Thank you.
Assessors, anything from the assessors tonight?
I don't think so, no.
Town clerk's memo. Deb, do you want to read your memo tonight?
Sure.
Thank you.
It's pretty self-explanatory. Wade Major came into the office last week just to kind of follow up on a claim. Let's get my video going here. Follow up on a claim, and the conversation led to who would be the best person to be the contact person. So that's something that if you could have a dialogue about that, whether it be somebody on board, whether it be myself or Julie. Right now, Julie is the contact person, but I think from what Julie was saying, that she just forwards everything to you on the board anyway when it comes to questions from them. So that's something that you should talk about. Adele did come in and she said that the septic had to be pumped out. The alarm had gone off, so Doran came and pumped out of a 6,000 gallon tank, pumped out 4,000 gallons. And when he was done, she said the alarm stopped going off, but the light is still on, so we were all wondering who would be the person to come in and just kind of look things over and make sure everything is functioning properly. The conversation with the email that I sent you, I don't know, last week, I guess, with regard to the replacement of the batteries upstairs in the shades. That's a dialogue that might occur tonight. The audio-visual equipment that's coming from PEG TV, I was notified or asked if it would be okay if some of that equipment could be direct shipped to the office, and I said that would be okay. And that just eliminates the need to have to retransport it another time. And I have given you all a copy of the legislation on S55, which is an act with some changes relating to the updating of the Vermont Open Meeting Law. I also attached a key point informational sheet that another town shared that might help kind of let you know what's going on. There is some changes and some training that needs to be done. So at your leisure, that's some good reading for you. And then I see that Gib and Deanna are kind of here tonight, and I'll let them address their concern with the Japanese knotweed removal. And I will be out of the office on Monday. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Frank?
Could the open meeting changes be sent out to the members of the planning commission as well?
Actually, every board in our community should have a copy of this legislation. Jessica has a copy sitting on at her place right now, so she could share it with the planning commission as well.
If you could get a copy to me, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Why don't you take Jessica's copy and I'll give Jessica another copy.
You can take Rich's copy.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for Deb?
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Deb. Have a good evening.
Yep. Thank you, you too.
Now we're on to the treasurer's report.
Well, do you want to answer the question? So I don't know if you want to discuss it tonight. So who would be the best point of contact for the LCT questions?
Well, one of the things that when he comes during the daytime, so it's somebody needs availability during the daytime usually.
Mm-hmm.
The truck issue is something that Rich should really address.
Which I know Deb was able to, was coincidentally able to contact Rich, and then they were able to talk, but I think that,
Right.
maybe it depends, different points of contact. Maybe we can provide Wade with the list of liaisons, and if depending on who it might be pertaining to, that could depend on who he reaches out to. I don't know if that's too broad.
Right. Or I guess maybe when he wants to arrange something, probably it would be,
Could contact me.
or me, and we can connect with the appropriate people, so. That probably makes sense for him to, we could send a email to either of us, either the board, the chair, or you, or both, probably would be the most efficient way. And then between us, we can figure out who's gonna be have the best answers for him.
Okay. And then, who should be contacted regarding the septic?
Now, septic,
I don't know who installed it, I don't remember.
right?
I mean, odds are they would probably have a print of why they did what they did and have an answer for it, but as far as the gray water, it's obvious, there's no, drainage, there's no, system, so it just captures everything and doesn't evaporate, nothing evaporates, and every time someone washes their hands or anything, it just adds
Right.
to the water. It's not like a home septic system, so.
The alarm light would be electrical float issue, but
A sensor, yeah, just a,
but I don't know if any of the local electricians would want anything to do with that. Harley, you have your hand up?
Does it regularly get pumped by Dorian?
Generally, yeah. I mean,
So it
I think
is-
once or twice a year is,
Oh, okay, so it is on a regular schedule.
right.
I think the issue, no?
when the alarm, it has a sensor
Yep.
and an alarm, and so when the alarm goes off, we can call and you have a buffer time period to
I see.
have it
Right.
emptied.
But that operating procedure is what's been happening. My understanding is what might be different now is that even after 4,000 gallons were removed, the next day, the light said full. So it's rain, there was a heavy rain event. Is rainwater leaking in? If somebody inspects it, maybe that's.
It's a tank, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, so what you've got is a window. And when you pump it down, that window is covered with gray water, or the film right now. That's what it is. It's not anything on a float. The float is the alarm. The window tells how full it gets. So you've got a condition over the window that tells the levels of it. But that's not a float. That's another part of the system.
So what
It just
activates
tells you
the
the
light?
level. It's in campers and that sort of thing all the time. And gray water, black water tends to cover it up. Somehow it needs to get cleaned off. I don't know, find a diver.
Yeah, probably. The only place I could think of would be A1 sewer and drain up in Rutland. They do work at the treatment plant in West Pawlet too, so they do pumping and stuff like that, and they do.
Somebody like yours, see, Duran doesn't have a jet jet pump.
Right.
Somebody else, like even doors, anybody that would have a jet system that washes. That's what's necessary.
So they have to wash the,
Yeah, they have to wash that part off. It's all in the tank.
that beneficial to you, is that information?
Yes, that explains that it's probably not rainwater. which
Not at
was
all.
the
Right,
second-
I'm sure that it's sealed all the way to from the building to the tank.
Harley, you can clean it. I bet you could.
So do we want to contact either of those people? A1 or Door?
Who would,
Yeah, I guess we can.
Okay,
I'll reach out and find someone.
okay, I'll make a note.
Thank you.
Okay,
so then that will be figured out once we have somebody that can look it over and determine what's going on and stuff. Okay, so now the third item. Harley, you went and looked at the batteries? And
Well, I looked at the shades, there were 2 working, and I understand it enough and the parts are there to get 8 working. But it does involve use of a ladder, and so the sense was to be
Right.
actually approved to do that.
Is that something you feel comfortable doing, or?
I am so slow on the ladder that you'd think I was union labor.
But do you feel comfortable?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're willing to do that, if you feel comfortable doing that,
Yes.
Not alone. and have
right, do you
someone-
have, yeah, to do it with someone around would be the best, you know, when someone's available, not up there without anyone knowing you were up there and stuff.
I guess I would ask one of the people in the
Right,
office.
so just check in with them to make sure, and so they're aware that you're up there
Yes.
and stuff, so. Okay, thank you for that. Audio-visual equipment. Okay, the Japanese knotweed. Give you've sent a message that, and this is from Deanna. The Japanese knotweed is highly invasive and disturbing to the patch. Will only make it spread more into my property. No, thank you. Please do not disturb the patch on your property or next to it. So this is,
Only because when you start pulling it, the root system will just multiply and it just becomes a bigger problem. There's other ways to deal with it than pulling it. And being so close to the stream might not be an adequate way to do it, which involves herbicide.
right. But you would,
Mowing it, just, I mean, if you mowed it constantly, keep it down. Otherwise, pulling it multiplies it.
pulling it increases the spread
Yeah.
rapidly. Okay.
Yeah, and the first of all, I didn't know it was private property. I thought that strip was public
Up
domain.
past the signs, from the signs going towards the firehouse is state property. There's a bunch of signs there, from there down, that's our property.
Yeah, so if you don't want it, I feel I can't do anything with it. I assumed it was, public property. It wasn't private. So my feelings are, if it's private property and you don't want it done, that's, what else do you do? And I want to say, I've been dealing with invasives since 2016. I've dealt with the Courtney, the Pawlet Mettawee people. I've been a lot of discussion about what to do and how to do it. I think that the fears are unjustified, they're incorrect, because you just remove the roots, among other things. But as it's private property, I just feel I don't want to be involved, because it's private. I thought I was helping the town out by doing this, but if it's private and the owner doesn't want it done, then that's their problem. It's just going to spread and take over their land.
Thank you, Linda. I'm Deanna here. My concern is, and in speaking from experience just across the street, at my other property on 50 Cemetery Hill Road, when we actually brought in an excavator and dug out that ditch and hauled away, it just, you will never eradicate those rhizomes on the Japanese
You have to do
knotweed.
it by hand, piece by piece. With most
Wait,
things,
let's-
invasives, you have to do
Deanna
it.
says the
Deanna's still
floor.
on the,
Yeah.
Deanna still has the floor, please.
Yeah, and I couldn't hear what
Sorry.
you said, but I'm just, again, speaking from experience, and I know it's all over our village, and I guess I'm just looking to sort of keep it at bay, and the best way I know how now is to turn away from it, unless you hit it super early in the spring when it starts coming up with shoes, and then maybe you can dump your hot vinegar down or something, but right now, if we tore into that bank and just started trying to pull weeds, I know that it's going to make it worse, and it will spread. So I ask that you abort mission.
Go ahead.
I'd like to just volunteer observing Jess and I's property as things go, just as a test case, because we've started doing a combination of pulling up knotweed and targeting exactly a few points at the roots that are open to the root system with like the tiniest amount of Roundup. So feel free to stop by and just see if that worked or not, and we'll find out. We'll let our place along the stream be a test case. But we've been trying to both protect the waterway and test out knotweed things. So the proof will be in the pudding. Go ahead and check it out as things go. I sure hope it doesn't spread more, but we've been taking out about another 20 feet per year for the last 6 years, but it is a constant struggle. We have not yet eradicated it, let me just say. I'm not saying what we're doing works yet, just please keep watching and we'll all find out.
Yeah, that's the correct way of doing it. You have to.
Lauren?
Oh, I had a knotweed problem at our home in Dorset, and I actually was able to pull it in the springtime earlier in the season and did it by hand, and over about 3 years I was able to get rid of it. But you have to be on top of it. You have to constantly be pulling at the saplings, and it's hard to do. But I've done it without it.
We definitely know that where the property lines are, on your property line, is that it's right from the sign south toward the intersection is all your property. So we have to disregard that. And then is the next, Jessica, in yours property, the next section of the river up, or?
The next section is state highway.
It's part of the state highway.
The firehouse, so then the Veritas property. There's a bunch of other properties before you get to mine.
Okay, I'm not exactly familiar with that. So basically, did you talk to anyone at the state regarding?
They know full well.
And they were.
Well, they wanted, once it was removed, to have grass put down and have it mowed. And I'd even organised, the church said they were willing to do the mowing, because of course I thought it was public land. So I'd organised everything, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'd also discussed with the conservation people about how to remove it all, and everything had been set up and ready to go, which is why we put that ad in, but I had no idea that this was private property. Obviously, I wouldn't have even started it.
So the only spot that you have got any permission to do it on is the state highway, the state property. Okay. And the neighbors are not in favor of you doing it on the state highway.
Well,
and
it's not on the state highway, it's on private land.
Right, but they're not in favor of you disrupting it at any point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if the highway was fine, but if it's not state land, you know.
Okay. So this
stops it immediately, doesn't it? Yeah.
So
I'm all in favor of community gardens, and if you have time on your hands and want to volunteer and do things, I think we have a lot of cool projects. I mean, I don't have any money to do the bridge boxes this year. Do you want to help me do that?
I don't know anything
bridge
about
boxes? That still needs to be done.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know the community garden.
At this point right here, all we could do is say what we want to say, because the select board really doesn't have any control over any of this. So I think that we're gonna let you guys all have to kind of work this out amongst yourselves, because we really don't have any other control other than to allow you to all voice your opinions and feelings on it. So
No.
Well,
thank you everyone for
thank you.
discussing this subject.
Let me know. I had no idea.
So that was it for the report from Deb. Okay.
Yes.
Now treasurer's report.
So there are 2 warrants this week. Payroll is $9,814.37. Accounts payable is $40,540.72. General fund monies, $27,306.21. Highway fund, $18,985.18. Wastewater, $3,258.64, and Records Restoration Fund is $805.06. Julie is looking for information on 2 grants which have closing dates approaching. The bylaw modernization grant, I believe that Jessica has submitted what we have so far. Will this be closed out soon? A little addendum to this, Jessica did respond to this email saying that the Rutland Regional Planning Commission is helping to do this closeout process. So Jessica's going to reach out to see where we're at with that. The FY24 grants and aid, which closes in September, is there a project designated to this grant? I have yet to process anything on this, and any information that could be relayed to me, I would appreciate. I also can speak to that, saying that at this point there has been nothing established for that as well, but plans are in the works.
But we're working on
Yes.
bringing that all together.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Julie has left for us a request for information about money received from the use of the slag pile. The policy indicates a requirement for logging the amounts of material for logging the amounts of material removed and receiving $1 of in-kind service per yard. I do not have any information on the use of the slag pile that is held in my office. Does anyone know how I could get this information in order to respond to this request? I can speak saying that I did send Julie a copy of the slag pile policy this afternoon, so she'll have copies in the office. Julie left a copy here and also emailed everybody all of the, a copy of the auditor engagement letter. If you approve, Julie will sign and send on to begin the process for the audit of this fiscal year. Julie will be attending the Mettawee School graduation tonight, so will not be in attendance, so please let her know if you have any questions. Have a great meeting. The payroll warrants are for 24064. I think there's a typo. It's not for $99,000, but $9,814.37, and accounts payable warrant 24065 for $40,540.72.
I'll make a motion, we approve warrant 24064 and warrant 24065.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So the question is the auditor engagement letter needs approval, or we need to authorize Julie to sign that if you're all in favor of it.
Who has to sign it? Julie? Julie.
Can I ask a question, Mike?
Yes.
Can you talk to what you're talking about with the auditor? Can you speak to that?
What the
Just
audit is.
every year, Mudgett, Dennett, Crowell, and Weisner have gone through and audited all of the treasurer's account. And this is a yearly practice that we do every year. And this is just their cover letter to engage them to do it for the fiscal year ending at the end of this month.
Have you guys ever considered auditing the library?
No, because of the separation.
Okay. Thank you.
Confirmed on behalf of the addressee. That's probably me, huh?
I'll make a motion, we agree to have Mike sign the audit contract with Mudgett, for another year.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
Well, I
Yes.
guess it's not pertaining to your motion, but, I mean, because the select board does pay for like the salaries and stuff for the library, correct?
That would be, that would be part of the.
That would be part of this. Their salaries would be part of this, but the rest of the library
Okay, so
money,
everything that it's like the town pays for would be.
everything that comes, that Julie signs a check for is gone over by this
Thank you
this
very
company.
much. Thank you.
And I know they've been doing it as long as
We used to
I've been
do
on
it
the
every
board.
other year to save money,
Right.
but they actually ended up having to backtrack because of confusion, trying to track down every penny, and they'd end up backtracking for 2 years anyway, and it would cost us just as much, so we just do it annually, and
Yep.
and it
Or sort of-
keeps everything in order and accounted for.
Did we vote?
Yep, Bob made the motion and Brian seconded, and is there any further discussion?
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Today. Okay, so we're all set with that.
The slag pile question.
Pretty sure that should answer the questions they had, but do you see any that our policy doesn't answer the questions?
Okay. I guess I can follow up with Julie and see if there's anything else that she needs in order to support that request, but I did send her that policy, so. Looks like the letter that Julie received is a resident, which is suggesting that there be a separate P&L that's specifically for the quarry, but there's not really the way that it works is there's not really
It's
money
not-
exchanged, it's for in-kind service.
Right, in the past, we've always, the contractors that use that, they can't sell the product to their customers. They can only charge for their equipment time. The town can't sell slag from that pile. Towns can't sell anything from their property, just like we couldn't sell any gravel from Butternut Bend. It's all in the state rules of non-compete clauses and et cetera. So what we've done in the past is if the guys are in there, quite often what we do is we just have them go down, and if we need somewhere, they load our trucks for us. And it all kind of balances out.
And if we need a culvert dug or anything, we hire one of the local contractors, and if they owe us anything for material they've taken out, they take it off from the bill.
They adjust
the town.
accordingly, so.
Okay.
Good.
So, yep.
Emergency management, anything for Bob tonight?
So Bob attended the State Emergency Response Commission meeting virtually on May 15th. That was his report from the month of May.
Okay. Jennifer. Do you have anything for us?
Yeah, so I have a brief update on the situation here in West Pawlet that I have been communicating with you before. I guess the bank has started foreclosure, and a representative was there today putting up no trespassing signs, so I think the situation will resolve itself.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any other questions?
No, thank you.
Wastewater, I think.
I didn't receive any report, I don't think, but there was some exciting news, which Jessica shared, which the Rutland Regional Planning Commission shared, that Pawlet is one of 2 towns that will be receiving support through the Municipal Technical Assistance Program, which we've been talking about for a while. So the support that we'll get through this program is to get help with improving the wastewater treatment facility. So that's really cool that Pawlet was selected for that. So
Search for funds and
yeah,
stuff
and
to
help us to apply for
so we
funding.
can make that better. That's excellent.
Yeah, so that's
Very
great
excellent.
news.
I saw that this afternoon. I shared it with Jill. And the
Yeah.
only other thing, we had to order some parts to rebuild one of the pumps. It was about $3,000 or something, and I approved that. Yeah. It's been like 10 years since we did that already. It seems
Yeah.
not that long ago, but the refurbishment was like 10 years ago when it was complete, so it's
Really?
Flies.
Japanese stuff.
crazy. So that's it for wastewater at this point. Anything facilities other than the library's tank that we'll work on, trying to find somebody that can clean that level indicator.
That's one tank for the whole town, I mean, for the town hall also, right?
Right, the two buildings.
Right, they're together.
Mettawee School Board, anything from that? No.
Graduation
Right,
tonight.
graduation's tonight, that's where Jessica is. Older unfinished business. Nothing. Gib?
I don't know where this would come in, but I understand that the bridge is costing more money
Yes.
than we thought.
Yes.
What about this grant money for the sidewalks? Can we use that money towards the bridge?
No, we found, that was specific for the sidewalks. But the bridge ended up going to like a little over 500,000 from originally around 300,000. And we were able to find that through the years, we've accrued some money in the highway funds that was enough to cover it. And we felt that going with that route of redecking the bridge and spending the extra 200 at this time was by far the best
Agree.
option for the bridge. And the money was available from money that we'd accrued from sometimes budget. We didn't use all our highway budgets, and
So
we
you
could
got it
keep
covered.
that. We could keep that for emergency. And they recommend that we have 20% or more always in emergency fund. 20% of our annual budget in emergency fund for any kind of events that may occur with our highways that we would need. So we had enough in there to
Okay.
go the extra to make to do the right way on the bridge. So
Can I go on about the sidewalk business a little bit?
yeah, you can talk about that.
I understand that there's feelings about encroaching on private property to put these sidewalks in. And nobody's ever approached any of us
That's
with the
correct.
private property about this.
That's correct. That's what the next phase of this project is.
So why go forward with something like this if it's gonna go up against a stone wall?
Well, that's the next phase of the project. The project
You're
is
just gonna
is
condemn our
out.
properties to put your sidewalks in.
Right, the next phase of the project that we voted on is the engineering phase, where they go through and they make sure that everybody's okay with it. So if they
So you're
can't,
spending money.
what?
You're just spending money now.
Right. But it has to be done in a structure in order to conform or get any of the money at all from the state. So they have their structure of how the operation has to go. And somebody has to be an engineer and figure the project out and understand if there's going to be any problems with the
What about
sidewalks.
using some of the existing sidewalks that are in?
Right now, the project is only to engineer from the church to the intersection, across the intersection and across the bridge. That's the portion of this project that we have funding for right now.
When you start putting in all of these sidewalks, there's no room.
That's why we're going to an engineer phase before we're trying to do the job. And the engineer phase is split up in different sections so that they can go the one step. If that step clears, then they'll move to the next step and move to the next step. Go ahead.
As I understand it, part of the engineering phase is that the engineers are going to come to the public, and there's going to be a chance for absolutely everybody to weigh in, look at several different things, and they are specifically looking for feedback from people with businesses nearby to make sure that whatever is engineered in the first place fits the needs of the businesses and the people downtown. So there's a lot more, there's going to be more public feedback. It's not just a done deal.
Sue?
And I also understand that a study has never been done to see how much weight our bridge can hold. And that to me, you know, we're building all these crosswalks and we're focused on the bridge and crossing to the post office and the market and the church. We don't even know, there's not even, we haven't spent the money to know what weight our bridge can even hold right now. And the bridge infrastructure could use some money.
Well, what they decided is that they're not going to add a sidewalk to the bridge. They plan to come up with an option where we can identify a sidewalk on the existing bridge without affecting the structure of the bridge.
Mm-hmm. And has a study been done to
That's the next phase that we just voted to start on.
Yeah, and I also think a study to see how many pedestrians are walking in town. Right? Right? We're Pawlet, right? I kind of got an eye on the sky here in the village, and I don't see a lot of pedestrians. So.
Well, this project's been going on for several years. We had the scoping study, and it was the opinion of the whole that we should move on to get to go to the next phase, which would be the engineering study, and that's where we're at now.
And how much money was this grant?
I believe that
500,000 for just this phase.
with a 20% match. Please, Kristen.
So yeah, this whole project was initiated about 3 years ago, and I'd say most of the people in this room were at several of the meetings we had several firms that came and they gave really robust presentations about what this project would look like and the different phases and the different options, and we discussed pros and cons, and many people were in favor of it at that time, and it's since evolved quite a bit and things have changed. But I'd say that the town, especially Jessica, who's not here tonight, has done an incredibly robust amount of work and has put a lot of time and effort and energy, and the state has given a lot of support to this. So this is definitely not something that's just been pulled out of a hat, and there's been a lot of intention behind it. And as a lot of us know at the state, it's kind of like an iceberg, and there's so many parts that happen beneath the surface. So coming up, we're in the next phase of it, and so coming up now we have to follow along with this slow moving train, and there will be plenty of opportunity for everybody to voice, and if it doesn't work out, then we'll know. But unfortunately, yeah, with that comes money. But I think that the intentions are definitely all good, and there will.
Except for the property owners.
Well, no, that is definitely part of it. No, you're. Yeah, no apologies necessary. I'm just letting you know that it doesn't. This didn't come out of nowhere. So, and there's going to be ample time for if it doesn't work, or if there's good opposition to it, that there will be ample opportunity to be able to express that. So yeah, nobody's.
And who cleans the snow removal in the winter months on sidewalks? Because we do the walkway to the store, and let me tell you, it takes effort.
We're not.
So, you have a sidewalk, you gotta.
I don't wanna sound frustrated, but we've been talking about this for quite a while at our meetings, so you're just bringing up stuff that we've already talked about several times.
This is the first time that us as property owners
Right.
have come to any of this.
But
Okay, so
Right, so.
at this
we
point
need
right
to
now, you're
control.
gonna have your chance when the engineering comes along. And if you don't want it as, on your property owner, we'll have to figure out a different way, or
Eminent
that will be the
domain.
reason that the project fails. And there'll be no sidewalks or crosswalks on the main road. So,
But
that's
this-
what we have to, we can't know this until we go through all the steps necessary in the sequence that the state prescribes to figure this out.
But there's a couple reasons, excuse me, Mike, but there's a couple reasons that we're looking into this. One is sidewalks are known to slow traffic down in towns, so that could potentially make
So are
it
those
safer.
radar signs.
And it also could drum up business for any business owners in town. So I would think that the business owners would like to see more people walking into their businesses and more of an inviting town. So we're concerned about it. We've put a lot of thought into it, and there definitely will be a lot more meetings about it, but we're thinking that if Pawlet is gonna grow, Pawlet needs to potentially have some sidewalks in it. And if we see that it doesn't make sense, then we won't put any sidewalks in. But this is what the state's looking into, and they've given us grant money to look into it and try to do it if it can make Pawlet a better place, safer place.
And I'm sorry, I didn't hear when I had asked that question. How much was the grant for?
500,000, give or take.
Did that come through okay? I know the
I
sound.
heard 500,000.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Frank?
I think that grant, 500,000, was envisioning sidewalks on the bridge itself, but this has been backed off considerably to a crosswalk on the bridge, which you might be able to put a sign up that says pedestrians have the right of way to crosswalk, which is the same as a stop sign at that point, depending on where it is. But the landowners, how many landowners would you think would be impacted?
we don't,
Well, the people who own the village,
This project is just going from the church to the intersection. Sue?
just a small thing. In 2024, we're hiring engineers and drawing up plans, and they're going to do an archaeological study and study the project. The end of the summer, end of 2024, after they've looked and drawn up plans, there's a local concerns meeting. People can make their concerns known once you know what it is. And just because they're saying sidewalks doesn't mean sidewalks necessarily, it can mean walkways. But we don't know yet, so they're gonna have the engineers look at it, draw something up, and then you'll know what you're looking at, and then if you don't like it, you can come to a meeting and say, I don't like it. That's all. I'm sorry, I'm talking again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Harley?
If I recall correctly from the Gantt
Excuse me,
chart,
Harley has the floor.
if I recall correctly from the Gantt chart, it's a go, no-go point, about a 1/3 of the way down the Gantt chart for, they have now plans and instead of cartoons, sketches based on the actual property. So if you are a property owner, you can see exactly how much of your land they are talking about. And that's a go, no-go point before even the rest of the engineering study money is spent.
That's correct. That's the way we discussed it the other night. Frank?
We ran into an uncooperative landowner, two situations for the rail trail and the Delegate, and it was, they want to do a contiguous from Castleton all the way down to Salem, but there were several landowners, when the D&H gave up using it, they claimed that they had a reversion right of the ownership of property, so there was no right-of-way there. And so that has totally stopped that, and they're trying to figure out a way around it, but it's stopped it for years. And so you have to purchase the right-of-way, possibly, or offer things like hold harmless for insurance, different things that the landlords may be concerned with. But again, you won't know what properties are impacted if you actually have the engineering studies, which you're saying, is that correct?
Okay, thank you.
And I guess I hope this engineering study will show the amount of pedestrians that we even have trying to cross a couple highways in town. I mean, I'm pro-commerce. I'm a small businesswoman. We're pro small local shop businesses, but I think putting in a whole bunch of sidewalks seems. Anyway, do your study, get some engineers, get some heads on this, and we'll go from there.
Is there any new business tonight? Public comment. Frank?
Julie and I were gossiping about this, and I've picked up this handicap access sign and re-put it up against the post, and many times, and she has too. And that did have a painted handicap parking thing. It's fading a bit, so I'm wondering if that sign was supposed to be put on a post and screwed onto one of the posts up front or something, right next to that spot, because it's not permanently mounted now.
No, it was just in the basement.
Oh.
It was just, and it came upstairs.
The sign can't be attached to the building.
Yeah.
But you have to, you can't, okay, but you have to have handicap access a certain number of feet from the building, right?
Right. So maybe the road needs to be.
Does the parking space need to be repainted?
Probably.
We can look into that. Harley?
Because of Act 55, we, I believe, are going to be responsible for broadcasting or having a Zoom-type capability, or at least audio, for people participating in the library board meetings. And I was thinking that the setup here in Town Hall is a lot better than what we have at the library right now. My question is, can the library board meetings use Town Hall for their library board meetings?
Do they don't conflict with the select board meetings?
No, they do not.
Don't we sometimes go over and then on the same night?
Aren't they the same night?
No, they are not.
Do you want to discuss this with, does he want to discuss it with the board, with the library board?
It's not been discussed by the board.
So, when we get it set up, then the boards can decide whether or not they want to use this room, and then we can decide on a board if that makes sense for us after they get the setup installed.
What's set up?
The PEG TV is going to be setting up a complete system in here so that he doesn't have to take stuff up and down every week.
Oh, yes, I got that, but that's the PEG TV part. I was talking about the way people are able to call into the meeting and see themselves, and you can see them on the screen. You can display material on the screen, and the owl shows people remotely who's in the meeting room.
So this is Zoom.
Yes.
So if the library, it should probably be discussed amongst the library board, but a suggestion might be to have the library get a Zoom account.
Oh, it's the
and then
flat screen TV.
You're just talking about the TV and the owl.
Oh.
Yes.
That was a very small investment, right?
Yeah, we utilized ARPA funds.
But it was
a small investment.
It was a pretty small investment to just get the TV and the owl.
Okay, thank you. I'm hearing that it's not advised to go this route.
At this point, I'm not sure. We'd have to look at more logistics. Frank?
I think that the whole town any public body in town should be able to utilize the same Zoom account if they're not meeting on the same night for the same facility. That would be the cheapest thing to do across the board. And it wouldn't create any problems, and it would be the same number that people would be utilizing for planning commission, for everybody. So, but the thing is, it says here quickly, non-advisory must be hybrid. That means if you have a failure of your electrical system, or Zoom or anything like that, you're going to have to postpone the meeting until the equipment is correctly is fixed. You can't go on with a non-hybrid. It has to be hybrid. So if something happens, like a town meeting over at the school, you would have to have seats. Yeah, it would be advisable to have potentially backup equipment if it's equipment failure. Just something, electronics, if it goes boom, you have something you bring out of the closet, and it's the same damn thing, and you just plug it in and it works. So that might be something, because of this language, that you might want to consider.
Lindsay?
Yeah, I was just wanted to say that the Pawlet library does have a Zoom account, costs $14.99 a month. And I'm sure, being that this new law has passed, that there would be grant funding for libraries to be able to purchase an owl or a screen or both, to be able to comply with this new hybrid open meeting law.
Okay, well, thank you. Is there anything else for the public comment tonight? Okay. Well, then you,
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Have a good evening.